Hey there, welcome to Learning Lab. Today we're in science, we're talking scientific method. Here we're just going to go over what the scientific is and what does it look like in grade 6/7. So what is the scientific method? Well, a scientific method is a method or way of testing a guess or prediction or hypothesis through an experiment to find out some conclusions about the world. Okay, so it's like you're testing something out to see what happens. Okay, so there's a few steps in here. I made this really cool one, or I found it on Google, I think. The step one is ask a question. Okay, so you're in the world, you're looking around, you find something interesting. Okay, maybe you've never seen a projector before. You ask a question. How is he showing an image off of his computer with nothing here? Okay, so we're asking a question. How is this image showing here? Okay, let's do some background research. That's our second step. So we look online. You go search it up. Maybe you go to the library and you look at a book. You search up how to project an image onto a whiteboard. Okay, maybe you find some results about projectors, maybe even TV stands, maybe even the overhead projectors from back in the day. Then you construct the hypothesis. Okay. My hypothesis or prediction or guess is that if I put a projector right here and I connect it to my computer, I can project an image. Okay, let's test that out with an experiment. So now I grab my computer, I find an old janky projector in my basement, I link it all up, I connect it, power it up, and I write down all those steps. That's the procedure. Okay? Then I test if it works. So I turn it on, project, nothing's working, nothing came out. Troubleshoot the procedure. Maybe I missed a step. Oh, I forgot to change the source, the input source on our projector. Change it to HDMI. Now it's projecting. Yes. Analyze the data and draw conclusions. Okay, so the data shows that if I plug in and grab a projector and plug it into my computer, plug it into the HDMI, plug it into the power, I will have a projection on my whiteboard. Yes. Conclusion is, and I can project an image using a projector. Okay? Here are more complicated steps. So this is for my grade 7s out there. Do your results align partially or not at all with your hypothesis? And if they do, communicate those results. Okay, so you're telling the audience, hey, we asked this question, we had this hypothesis, using this experiment, we found out that yes, my hypothesis was correct. If I connect a projector through an HDMI and power outlet, I will project an image. Okay, so the scientific method is super simple. All you have to do is follow these steps. Here is a more in-depth look at asking a question. You're asking who, what, where, when, how, and why of a certain thing in the world that you see. It needs to be testable and specific. What does research look like? Well, you can read, you can also find links online or talk to some people who are experts in the field. What does hypothesis look like? Well, it's an educated guess, okay? It's a prediction. You maybe heard that one in your language arts class. Hypothesis is the scientific way of saying it. It usually follows this formula. If I do this, so if I plug in a projector, then a projection will appear on my whiteboard, okay? If, then will happen. That's how we do it. Then we test the hypothesis with an experiment, okay? An experiment lists out steps using the procedure so that other people can also repeat that experiment, okay, and get the same results. That's very important. If your experiment cannot be repeated and get the same results, your procedure was incorrect and your experiment is invalid. So you need to make sure you write down all your steps very specific so that someone else, maybe even a kindergartner, would read that and get the same stuff. Here we go. Variables. Ooh, a little bit scary. Variables, things that can change. Okay? Independent variable, so independent means on its own, right? Variable means something that's changing, is changed during the experiment. So independent variable is changed during the experiment. We want to see a change. So maybe it's the input on the projector. That's what I would do. That changed, okay? To see if something occurred on the screen. A dependent variable is measured during the experiment.
So the measured we did was either yes or no did it, project or no. So very simple in my case. Okay, that's the dependent. It's did something show up here. Controlled variables, something that stayed the same, was my computer and its file transfer. Okay, that did not change. I didn't change anything on the computer. I only changed the input on the projector. Okay, pretty simple. Moving on. Our final step is communicating those results. So they say knowledge is power, but it has no power unless you can communicate that knowledge, okay? It's the communication of where the power is. So how do you communicate it? Right here, through presentations, poster boards, news articles, YouTube videos, and I think that's another news article from back in the day. All right, scientific method. Pretty simple.